It's walnuts.
This is walnuts.
This is walnuts.
It doesn't taste like a nut.
It's definitely walnuts.
Welcome to episode 3 of the Hella Nuts Plant-Based Podcast.
I am your host, Mieko.
And I'm your co-host, Cami.
We hope you have enjoyed the episodes thus far. Shoot us any questions in our DM at hella_nuts.
On this episode, we will discuss quick recipes, supplements, washing your produce, ingredients to stay away from, menstrual cycle care, baby formula, and diapers.
We want to begin by discussing our favorite vegan recipes in detail. Cami, what's yours?
Well, right now, one of my favorite easy recipes that I like to make in between classes or after class, and I'm just starving, I don't really feel like doing too much, is avocado toast. I start with a good sourdough bread, so I usually get a sourdough loaf, and I slice it in thick pieces, and I grill it in the oven on about 375 for 6 minutes. And while it's grilling, I cut up an avocado, I cut up some small pearl tomatoes and fresh parsley. I use the fresh parsley because it's really good at eliminating all the heavy metals inside of our body. And I also use pink Himalayan salt, garlic powder, onion powder, and pepper. I like pink Himalayan salt because it alkalines the body, and it's also really a tasty salt. It doesn't really taste super salty, but it gives it just enough flavor. So when I take the toast out the oven, I smash up a little avocado and I spread that over it. I add a little bit of my seasoning. Then I add tomatoes. Then I top it with parsley and I add a little bit more seasoning, and that's it. It's super easy. It's super delicious. Oh, and I also add a little squeeze of lemon just to give it a little bit of acidity, but it doesn't even need that much. It's super simple, super good, and it's actually pretty filling. What about you? What's some good recipes that you like right now?
Right now, a fun recipe that I like to do is making veggie broth. And veggie broth right now for me is so simple and easy. I use a lot of produce during the week. I cut up lots of different celeries and greens and beets and carrots and potatoes. And what I like to do is I have a glass bin in my refrigerator that I take out, and I call it my broth bin. And I put all of my veggie scraps from the week in this bin. And at the end of the week, I get a huge pot and I boil it with filtered water, and I don't add anything else to it, and I let it boil for about 2 hours. And at the end of that, I strain it and I have fresh veggie broth.
That sounds so good. And you can really use that with virtually anything. Like you can put it in some of your sauteed veggies to give it a little bit more flavor. You can put it in your sauces. You can put it on your meat substitutes. You can put it in your pastas. You can really put it in anything, and it's going to give it so much more flavor because it has all those different types of vegetables in there. But speaking of vegetables, let's go into how we wash our produce. What's something that you use to wash your produce?
I like to use baking soda. I like to get a large metal bowl and put my produce, either it's already chopped or just fresh on the vine, and I put it inside of a metal bowl and get some faucet water, and I go ahead and put at least like a quarter to a half a cup of baking soda in there. And I don't let it sit for longer than about 5 minutes. I don't like to let it sit too quickly either, though. You will notice that the longer you let it sit, the more things that are bacteria or even bugs or dirt will start to rise to the top. I like to mention that when you are washing your produce with baking soda or other things in general, when you're washing greens, you want to make sure that when you're washing them, you take the greens out of the water before you pour the water out of the bowl, because if not, you're going to pour all of the dirt that fell to the bottom of the bowl back onto your greens. What about you? What are some of the ways that you wash your produce?
Well, one super easy, quick, easy access item that everybody probably has or has access to clean vegetables and fruit is lemons and limes. It's actually really a good cleaner because it has certain acids in it that breaks down those bad compounds on top of produce and bacteria and dirt and all that stuff. It actually gets all that grime off of it. And what you can do is you can put it in a bowl and run some water over it, squeeze some lemon over it before you run the water over it, and then run some water over it and let it sit a little bit. And when you can rinse it out and then squeeze some more lemon or lime juice on it and do it over again just one more time just so you make sure it gets all over it. It's a little bit different than the baking soda because it doesn't dissolve all the way into the water. So you want to just give it like two kind of washings just so you make sure it's completely clean. But another one I also wanted to talk about that's really powerful and actually can be used to clean pretty much anything in your house as well, because it's a natural cleaner, is grapefruit seed extract. Grapefruit seed extract is super powerful, and it gets rid of all those bad organisms that we don't need in our body and actually on the produce. So it's really beneficial to us in two ways, because it gets rid of all the bacteria on the produce, and it also gets rid of all the bad bacteria inside of us as well. Do you have a code for them for the grapefruit seed extract?
Yes, we do have a code. We have an Amazon code for grape seed extract. We will attach it to the bottom of this episode so that you guys can go ahead and try a little bit of it. It's not that expensive, is it, Cammie?
No, it's not that expensive. And like I said, you can actually use it to clean anything in your house as well. That's how powerful it is. But it's also good for your gut, and it's also good to just clean things as well.
Yes, yes. So, you've been getting a lot of questions about your transition into being vegan. How about we go ahead and discuss a little bit of that?
Yeah, no problem. So my transition into vegan was a little bit different from my mom. My mom just kind of jumped right into it. But with me, I wanted to transition into it because my body was used to all the bad junk food, processed food. I just used to eat anything, whatever I wanted to. So my first thing that I did to transition into the vegan lifestyle was cut out pork completely. I cut out pepperoni, bacon, pork chops, anything that had pork in it, anything that had pork gelatin in it, I cut it out completely. That was the initial step. That it was the easiest step to take because, for one, pork is really bad for you. And I had seen a video where they had a piece of bacon and on a piece of concrete outside, and they left it for about a couple hours or a couple minutes. I forgot what time was, but after they waited, they came back and it was actual larvae coming out of it. You seen it swimming or just squiggling on out of the meat and the fat of the bacon. So once I seen that, it was just easy for me to cut out pork. So the next week, I actually cut out beef. Beef I cut out was pretty easy as well because beef always made me feel like heavy. It was super dense, and I felt like it takes super long to break down in my digestive system. So I always kind of had like tummy aches after I ate beef. So that was something that was easy to cut out. So the following week, I cut out chicken and I tried to cut out dairy. So those were a little bit harder because a lot of, chicken is just easy. There's chicken everywhere. It's a leaner meat. So, that's kind of why I wanted to keep it towards the last meat that I cut out. But chicken was the next step. Then my final thing that I cut out was seafood. Seafood was kind of the hardest for me because I just felt like it was, more lean, a little bit more healthy. It didn't really go through, because I would get wild caught seafood, so it didn't really go through the same process as other meats. But once you got there to the final stage, cutting out things really became way more easy. And cutting dairy out was completely fine too, because you had already started cutting out other things that you were used to. So one little thing like that was super easy to cut out. And then I started finding dairy alternatives like cashew milk and almond milk and cashew ice cream and whipped cream, coconut milk whipped cream. So it was just like there was other alternatives that made cutting out dairy easier. And a lot of people think that that's the hardest part about being vegan, is like, where's the cheese? Where's the milk and all that stuff? They have so many different alternatives that taste just like or even better than the real thing. So it's really not that bad, guys.
It's really not. And it's really interesting that you talk about the nut milks, because we are big fans on nuts, as everybody knows. And nut milks are super easy to make. So some folks have been questioning where our protein, minerals, vitamins, and calcium come from since we're vegan. So I want to go ahead and discuss some of the supplements that we both take and talk about some of the benefits and things that are actually included in a lot of these supplements. So how about you start?
Yeah, so I'm going to start off with presenting you guys bladderwrack. Bladderwrack is a brown algae, and algae is also known as a seaweed. Bladderwrack boosts levels of calcium. It helps with healthy digestion, inflammation, bloating, and weight loss, and it does this by increasing our metabolism.
Which is great. Yes. And bladderwrack in conjunction with sea moss, such a great thing for our menstrual cycle. Sea moss, better known as Irish moss to some, contains 92 of the 102 minerals that our body needs daily. Sea moss helps with iron deficiency. It helps dissolve mucus, which is super helpful for those of us who still love cheese. It decreases effects of radiation and improves mental health. We take sea moss because it's packed with protein, fiber, potassium, magnesium, zinc, and most of all, calcium, which a lot of us think is only in dairy and milk. And they're both algae. And so if you activate both of them, they have an even greater effect.
Yeah, I've been taking bladder sea moss for some time now, and it just actually makes you feel a lot more alive and like you're a lot more healthy just by taking these two supplements, because they have so much of the nutrients that we need daily in just those two supplements. So that's pretty great. The next one I wanted to talk about is burdock root. Burdock root is actually a vegetable. I've personally used burdock root for acne because it contains a lot of antioxidants and also purifies our blood. It enhances our immune system and reduces sweet cravings, tones and strengthens our intestines, alkalines the body, and helps give us strength when you're experiencing colds and high levels of stress.
Yes, burdock root is such a great thing, and some people don't even know that that really is just a root of a vegetable. Very easy access to get it to, too. And when I buy it, sometimes it's in a hard form, but sometimes it's great to just put that in your Vitamix, or, I have a apothecary that tells me that sometimes it might be good to boil it like a tea and take it that way. So I would try that with your burdock root. Next, we'll talk about chlorella. Chlorella is a green algae. It removes heavy metals. It has tons of vitamins and minerals. It enhances the immune system, improves blood sugar and blood pressure.
Yeah, chlorella I actually use with spirulina, which is also another organism that grows in water, but it's not really an algae. It grows in salt and fresh water, actually. It's super powerful antioxidants, lots of nutrients that actually helps eliminate candida, boosts energy, is high in protein, it lowers blood sugar levels, and reduces cholesterol to help relieve allergy symptoms. So these are both really good. Chlorella and spirulina are both really good green supplements that will give our body a lot of strength and energy.
Yes, and let's talk about black seed oil. Black seed oil guards against respiratory ailments. It helps recover from drug addiction, which is great. It protects brain cells from damage. It's antifungal, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory. It has antioxidants, helps with digestion, cancer, heart health, skin, and hair.
And where does the black seed oil actually come from?
I have no idea. Do you?
Yeah, it actually comes from the Nigella sativa plant, which is just another plant that grows. So everything that we talked about here is super natural and super healthy, and you need to get on it and try some of it.
Yes, yes. I use black seed oil for my scalp, and I also take it in capsules. How do you use your black seed oil?
I just take it daily, a tablespoon daily, put it under my tongue and just swish it back with some water. It's just a really good, healthy supplement to just continue to take, because it also helps prevent against things like cancer. So just by taking these few examples that we've given you, you can see that nature really does heal us. So ditch those pharmaceutical drugs and pick up some plants and herbs at your local store today.
We would like to take a moment of silence for Nipsey Hussle.
An innovator, a great man, a man for our people, a man for our communities, just a person that was about dedication, hard work, and patience, and also believed that nature can heal us as well. This is a moment for you, Nipsey.
Yes, yes, such a great man. How about we talk about some of the top ingredients we should stay away from?
Yes, because this is super important, especially when you're on your way to becoming more healthy. It's just some things that we really need to steer clear from. So let me start off by just saying something that we all see on most juices that we get, especially like things when we buy orange juice and lemonades and things like that. So one thing that we really need to stay away from, guys, or just limit the amount of intake that we're having of it, is just pasteurized juices. Pasteurized really means that they heat up the juice, they boil it, and they cool it back down and serve it to you. So by heating it up, it does eliminate all those bacteria and bad things that could be inside of the juice. But what it does is actually, by heating it up, is eliminating all the nutrients and vitamins that the fruit had. So you're really just drinking flavored sugar water, and you're not getting those nutrients from the actual fruit or vegetable that it's coming from. And the good thing about pasteurized and not pasteurized is that usually most stores have different varieties and different options for you to choose from. It's just a matter of reading the bottle. So one thing to look out for that you want to get are cold pressed juices and juices that aren't pasteurized or heated at all. So just look for that on the bottle when you're out shopping next.
Okay, well, I have to differ with you because I, for one, feel like unpasteurized juice is the only juice that should go in your body. I, for one, don't really like the cold pressed juices or juices that have been tampered with at any point. I feel like even though they're cold pressed, they still lose some of their nutrients. Do you see that at all?
No.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
I'm not trying to have a discussion, and that's how I feel. I don't think that you should drink cold pressed juices, but you do.
The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is carrageenan. Carrageenan is an emulsifier. It is used to thicken products. And the reason why we need to stay away from it is because it is labeled as a carcinogen. A carcinogen is a substance that can potentially give you health problems such as cancer.
Yes. The next thing I want to talk about is protein isolate. Protein isolate is genetically modified. It's another genetically modified organism. It's lab created. It's in a lot of veggie burgers. You'll see it in a lot of soy protein. You'll see it in a lot of whey protein. That might be the other way that they label it. And so I would definitely try to stay away from any protein isolate if I was you.
The next thing we're telling you to stay away from is actually canola oil. Canola oil is found in a variety of products on our market right now, especially vegan products, because it's cheap and it's easy access to. Canola oil is actually acidic and causes inflammation because it is highly processed. It comes in processed foods like chips, ice cream, and packaged foods.
Yes. Let's talk about soy. Soy is my favorite thing to talk about. A lot of people have debates with me. I am not a fan of soy. I feel like everyone who is vegan needs to run far, far, far away from soy. Soy is 93% genetically modified. It is cancer causing. There are lots of studies on how it has caused a lot of breast cancer in men and women. Yes, men can get breast cancer. It has tons and tons of estrogen. And I just want to point out once again, it is 93% genetically modified. That means that there's only a certain percentage of it that is not made in a lab. And there are a lot of lab burgers out there that we need to watch out for, and lab burger companies. So just beware of all of the different soy products that are coming out right now to appease the vegans. I would run as far away from soy as I can.
Now, I am not completely on her team when it comes to soy. I still like my soy sauce and my veggie rolls that have soy and tofu in them, but I definitely do limit the amount I'd intake. I'm not going soy crazy like a lot of people eat soy protein with everything or soy items in every meal, and that's definitely something you need to watch out for. But
yeah, you should try some of the other alternatives like for soy sauce. Like, have you ever tried coconut aminos or things of that nature, or Maggie's, or things like that to supplement for the soy sauce?
Yeah, I actually do love coconut aminos. I use them together, coconut aminos and soy sauce. So it's a little bit different because it's a little bit more sweet, the coconut aminos. But the soy sauce is just something that I grew up eating, so I'm not going to really get rid of it. I'm sorry.
I know, but I grew up eating it too. Like, I'm super, pro-Japanese food, and soy and tofu is in a lot of things, but I just feel like there's a lot of misinformation out there right now, and a lot of people don't really know about it. And, we have to just kind of cross over. But as you can see, guys, we're both at two different levels. I'm totally against the soy thing. I feel like we shouldn't be eating it, but sometimes I see that it is in things that are a little bit more accessible for you. But just limit it, please, because you worry me sometimes with the soy.
Yeah, I definitely do limit myself, though. Folic acid is also something that we need to stay away from. That it's in a lot of products right now. Folic acid is man-made, which means that it's not linked to anything in nature. Not one thing in nature is it linked to. It's simply created in a lab. So folic acid can be found in things like drinks. Most of our drinks have folic acid. Enriched flour is also something we need to steer completely clear of. Enriched flour is actually bleached flour, and by bleaching it, we are stripping all of the nutrients from outside of the wheat and synthesizing it to put it back in after we stripped it. So it's just lab created nutrients back in our flour to give it some type of nutrients again. And that's not something that's natural. That's not something that we want in our bodies. Enriched flour is actually found in things like ice cream. Who knew that ice cream had enriched flour in it? In breads.
Yeah, I've been trying my best to stay away from all enriched flour. And sometimes you have to look at like tortillas too. So some of the flour tortillas that are like more processed have a lot of enriched flour. So you definitely have to watch that. So I want to talk about aluminum. Aluminum, we've always thought was so good for us because we buy all those aluminum pans and aluminum foil. But really, guys, aluminum is not for us. Aluminum locks in toxins and heavy metals, and it keeps things inside of our body that are trying to come out of our body. There's a lot of aluminum inside of like deodorants that we don't even really know of. There's a lot of aluminum in our water too, so we definitely have to watch out for that. But definitely start cutting back on the aluminum that you're using. I think that we had also found some bamboo wraps that are similar to foil that you can wrap things in, so I would stay away from those. And next, I'd like to talk about fluoride. Fluoride, I think all of us keep hearing that it's supposed to be great for us because our dentists are using it, but fluoride is really horrible for us. Fluoride causes thyroid problems, urological problems, acne, cardiovascular problems, bone cancer. It affects our joints and our bones. It causes ADHD and helps lead to ADHD. And we definitely need to look at heart failure and high blood pressure. So I would stay away from fluoride if we can, and I would definitely stay tuned to episode 4, where we talk to Dr. Camille Fuller, who is a holistic dentist and tells us a little bit more about fluoride and other alternatives for dental care.
That's going to be a really interesting episode because it's important that we keep our mouth healthy as well as our body.
Yes, we are definitely swallowing things while we're in the dental chair or when we're using dental toothpaste and thing at home. Hey, did you know that there was a such thing as vegan floss?
I didn't. I did not know that.
Yeah, I'll attach a link. I bought some for you and I just sent it to you in the box that I just mailed you, but I never knew that there were animal products that were in floss. We definitely have to pay attention to our products, guys. So let's move along to the menstrual cycle since going vegan, because a lot of people just don't understand how much that we definitely don't have one. I know some of the guys tuning in are like, what? But this might be a reason for you to talk to your old lady and tell her that maybe she might want to think about going vegan, because Cammie and I have had some great experiences with our menstrual cycle. So Cammie, let's talk about your menstrual cycle since going vegan.
Yeah, I actually had a really good menstrual experience. That might sound completely crazy, but when I transitioned into being vegan, I told you guys I transitioned to being raw vegan. So I was just eating raw fruits and vegetables and only drinking distilled water. So my body was getting super pure and super detoxified. So over time, my body kind of stopped having a period, actually. It just kept getting lighter over the months. Like after 2 months, I just didn't have a period whatsoever. And it was really weird for me because I was on birth control for years. I was on the shot. I was on the Nexplanon. I had the implant on my arm. Like I just did different stuff. So my bleeding was super irregular. It was super heavy. It was super weird. So when I didn't have a period at all, it was really shocking to me. I actually didn't start getting a period again until I started becoming level 1 vegan, which is just like, you know, the regular vegan, eating processed food and all the junk and stuff. So that's when I finally got a period back. But even now that I have a period, it's super light. I don't have cramps, especially now that I'm taking my bladder. I can see moss. And I just had a really good experience, especially since I've been wearing these new cotton, all natural, organic pads. You definitely see a huge difference. How's your menstrual cycle been?
My menstrual cycle has been pretty good. I feel like before I used to have really bad cramps on my first day. I never really wanted to move around or even socialize. I feel like I don't really feel my menstrual cycle when it comes now, which is really interesting. I used to definitely know when it was approaching, either by the app or just by the feeling. And now it's here sometimes. And I have to like mentally start saying to myself, like, oh, maybe you should have cramps, or, oh, maybe something should be wrong. And I feel like since I have changed my diet, it definitely shows within my menstrual cycle. I can notice right away that I'm not so heavy on my bleeding anymore. It's very light and it doesn't last as long. My menstrual cycle might be about 3 to 4 days, whereas before it was super heavy and almost 7 days long. So I haven't really seen it fluctuate because I've only been at one level of veganism, but I feel like maybe if I go raw or if I just do the juice level, I might actually feel a little bit different as far as how long it is there, or even if it is there, because I know Cammie sometimes talks about how she didn't even have one in the very beginning. So I'm really interested in that. Everyone to go and check out this great brand that we found for our menstrual cycle. It's called Rael, Rael. We will attach a link in the bottom of this episode. Rael has 100% organic pads and tampons for us to use, and I never really realized how many chemicals and things were inside of the feminine products that we were using. I recently learned that there are a lot of chemicals that are harmful for us inside of the store-bought pads that we buy. For example, there are a lot of BPA inside of them. There are a lot of cancer-causing synthetics, and a lot of that stuff goes straight into our vaginal areas. And we have to make sure that when we're using these crude oil plastics and sanitary pads, that they are completely organic, because any kind of chemicals that are on those pads are absorbed directly into our skin because they're super close to our skin. So make sure that when you are on your cycle, you try some organic pads, because I definitely feel the difference from when I wear a pad that is just store bought. I feel the chemicals literally seeping into my skin. Do you feel that at all, Cammie, when you've even tried to use a regular store bought pad?
No, but what I can say is I definitely feel a difference, because I actually learned that there's certain chemicals and compounds on store-bought conventional brands of pads that actually make you bleed heavier and make you have cramps, because like I said, it's all a business. They're all in it together. They're trying to maximize their profit. So by you bleeding more, you're going to get more pads. And by you bleeding more and having cramps, you're going to purchase the menstrual medicine. You're going to be spending a lot more money than you need to. And that's what they're trying to get you to do. So it's just all a market, guys. You just always got to think sharply about what you're doing and think about your body at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, definitely. And on that note, I want to talk a little bit about diapers, because a lot of people think that it's just the concern of the pads, and we have to worry about our babies too. And our babies are wearing diapers that have dyes on them. And what I mean by dyes is sometimes you might buy the baby Pampers and they might have the cute little Mickey Mouse or the little character, a little fish or a little frog on the front. And those green color and yellow color dyes are toxic dyes that are going into your baby's skin. They get into the leg cuff, they get into the back of the elastic, they get into the wetness indicator, those same wetness indicators that are on pads that help us hold all the menstrual cycle in. Those same things are in baby diapers. And I didn't realize that until I went to go buy some baby diapers for a friend's child. And I realized that there were 3 brands that said they were 100% organic and all cotton. And I was like, wait, so does that mean that the baby diapers are similar to the toxic pads that they have us wearing? So that might be the reason that some of your babies get yeast infections or some of your babies get diaper rashes similar to you, because you're putting a chemical on them. And I know that sometimes it's super cheap to buy the cheap, cute diapers, but sometimes you get what you pay for, and you might want to go ahead and just get those 100% organic diapers or try a cotton diaper.
Yes, that's super important, because we do not want our little babies to be having problems like even like diaper rash and stuff like that comes from stuff. It's all a market. They're trying to get you to buy that diaper rash cream. They're trying to get you to buy more diapers and all the stuff. It's just all a marketing scheme. You just gotta stay sharp at all times. But the next thing we really want to talk about while we're talking about diapers is baby food and baby formula. Infant formula contains 42% corn syrup solids. So, corn syrup, we have a whole movement right now that's just against corn syrup because of how bad it is for you, for your body. So why would you want to give a newborn baby pure sugar, pure bad sugar at that, corn sugar?
Yes.
It's also followed by genetically modified protein. And we don't need any genetically modified organisms in babies. Like, what do they need that for? That means they're getting all those Monsanto chemicals in their bodies. They're also getting lab-created products in their bodies at such a young age. And even on the top of formula cans and stuff, my mom was pointing out the other day, it says #1 for whining babies, for crying babies. That your food shouldn't be something that is going to shut you up. It should shut you up naturally because you're full, but not because of the ingredients that are inside of it. So just pay attention to that, because also those formula cans and baby food cans are lined with BPA, which is super bad for you. And it's also
Yes, and those
carcinogen.
BPAs are getting inside of your baby's stomachs just from having that BPA can and having that formula powder in there. And I feel like it's really unfortunate because a lot of people who are on subsidized incomes or might have what we call here in California WIC, women, infant, and children, you get like these free vouchers to go get different milks and things for your home. It's horrible to me that everything that you can get is things that are horrible for you. Like they give you Enfamil or Similac. And Similac, yes, I have a can of it here that I was given to give to a baby that I didn't give to a baby because of the label that Cami just spoke about. The top of it has a sticker that literally says #1 for crying or whining babies. And then we read it. It has 4 different Monsanto products in it and 4 different sugars. Why does any infant formula need to have sugar? That's why when you give babies Enfamil or Similac, they are out like lightning within like 10 minutes of having the bottle, because they're definitely eating a whole bunch of chemicals. And we just need to stay away from that when we're giving our babies this kind of things. I mean, the chemicals that are in there can cause lung infections, ear infections. It can have chronic diseases, allergies, asthma. And if we think about these things, our babies always have asthma these days, something that they had when they were younger. And I noticed recently that I gave a baby, I changed her diet, and I took her off of the Similac and gave her some different solutions that we'll talk about in a moment. And I noticed that when she was drinking the Similac, she had diarrhea like all the time. Every diaper I would change. And the moment that I changed her diet to solids and things that she could actually handle, she had like real pieces of things coming out of her, not, runny things. So I just think that we need to think about that. If you have your babies have a lot of runny diapers, you might want to think about the products that you're giving them. Even if it's not formula, it might be the products that you're putting in your body.
Yes, and a healthy alternative to purchasing canned formula is just making your own formula if you aren't able to breastfeed. So a healthy formula would consist of some date, some coconut or hemp seed, vegan DHA, and chlorella. That's all. So you can just blend it up and strain it in a milk cloth, and voila, it's done. And you can make batches of it at a time, and it has so much nutritional value in just those little ingredients that it'll be way better for you and way healthier for your baby.
Yes. And on that note, I want to just discuss some of the other alternatives for if you are going to change your baby's diet like that. I noticed that I had changed a baby from formula like we just discussed, and I put them on nut milk. I found out that cashews and walnuts have the best value for babies transitioning. And so I made it a little waterier than we would make it for an adult's nut milk. And with that, I added no sugars, no salts, just the filtered water. But in addition to a baby having milk, like we know that they need the calciums, you have to make sure that they also have vitamin C. And so I like to blend up regular organic frozen fruit or fresh fruit, not heated, and let the babies have that as fresh baby food in conjunction with the nut milk so that they have a balanced diet, because they definitely need vitamin C and minerals along with that nut milk so that they have all their formula for their bones and their blood as well. So those are our solutions. How about you tell everyone about the baby products that we found?
Yeah, let me tell you guys about our cool affiliate called Made Of. Made Of is actually produces all organic, all plant-based diapers and wipes for babies. And the good thing about that is they don't have any harsh chemicals like our conventional and easy access diapers and wipes. They are completely plant-based and come from all natural ingredients and oils. Our affiliate code is HellaNut, and you can purchase them at madeof.com. madeof.com.
With that being said, thanks for tuning in. Don't be shy. Ask us questions or leave us comments in our DM. Be sure to tag us when you try the products from our affiliates. Never goodbye. Always see you later. It's walnuts.
This is walnuts.
This is walnuts.
It doesn't taste like a nut.
It's definitely walnut.